Welcome. Second try on this little video. It's not very long. The first one just I went to end and it lost it. Anyway, it's a muggy Labor Day weekend here in Oklahoma. I just finished up last week one of the Cisco CCNA CyberOps instructors training, and so I was building it out for our students and thought I'd do a video on two things. Number one, on how to build out a Cisco class, how to import somebody else's shell, if you would. Kelly did a pretty good job of that, and I'll try to put that in the footnotes, a link to his deal. The other one is there's some pretty slick little tools out there that are free or nearly free that you may or may not be familiar with that work with Canvas and all the LMS systems. One is EXE Learning. This has been around since 2007, I want to say. I'll quit this. It's browser based. You can choose which browser you want to use and save it and tell it to go away. And what you can do with it is, one of the real challenges for me in Canvas is that there's no nesting, or you can't do folders, and so things kind of spread out. If you probably noticed, you can have that scroll of death. One of the things I tell my students is go ahead and collapse everything at the beginning, and it stays collapsed. What the EXE allows you to do, for example, I wanted to do some objectives. I can build this out as a nested, menu-driven web page and embed it. And there's the objectives is just one of the things I could have built into this. The other one that I use is just free-based text, free-form text. Let's go into certification resources. And these are just all links for study material for the certification exams. Basically, you can go in and you can pick different styles, have different look and feel. The idea is you basically go in and add a page. I'm going to rename it home page. I can go ahead and insert things on that page. Everything from scramble list, interactive close activities, drop downs. I can have activities. I can do a reading activity. Notice what to read, activity, and feedback, reflection exercises. Typically, what I do mostly, I haven't gotten real brave and explorational. I'm pretty much just trying to tread water. I do the free text and the objectives. Okay, and it puts different icons for the different activities. Then you can come in and add a page to that. Come back and add. And you see how you build out a structure pretty easily. When you're through, you just go in and export, either as a website, single page. You can send it to EPUB for PDFs or ebooks, SCORM, IMS. Most of the time I just do websites, and then what I do is it has you pick a site, a folder. So I can pick this one and say select folder. Then what it's going to do, it's going to, then I come in here, I zip this using 7-zip, add to an archive, and I end up with a zip file. Okay, there we go. At that point, trying to shut things down. Sometimes when I do these the second time, I'm not as organized. What I do with them is I actually have a folder called websites. Then I will upload that zip file until it's expanded. I'm not going to do it. And it creates a folder that contains my website. And then I just go in and I find the index HTML file, and that's what I point to. Real easy. Gives you opportunity to do a little bit of nesting. Give it some depth. Again, it's a nice little tool. One of the other tools that I like is iSpring PowerPoint Converter. It's free. The reason I started using this was a lot of times we had students with Macintoshes or Apples that did not have Flash, and we're never going to have support Flash. And I would convert all these to Flash. Now I'm converting them to either SCORM or HTML5. I'm going to open another PowerPoint here. It's actually pretty easy. Basically, you go in and you say publish. Now, these are all HTML that I've generated, and basically above that in the PowerPoints, I have all my PowerPoints here. I create one for the HTML5 and one for the original PowerPoints. As I convert them over and put them in the HTML file, I put the original PowerPoint file in this folder. Then what I end up doing is I end up zipping both folders and uploading them just like I did on the website. But basically I do all slides, HTML5. As again, now not only do the Macs not support Flash, most of the modern browsers have discontinued or are in the process of discontinuing Flash. I did like the SCORMs. It actually would assign a number. You could actually give them points for depending on how many slides they went through on it. I'm not going to worry about that. I'll just put chapter demo. And it'll convert that over and makes a HTML file, index file, and then data. That's in my HTML5 folder. So when I zip that, I can just upload everything. At one time, I don't have to convert each of these to zip files and extract them and so on and so forth. Another little tool. It's not as important now as when we were on Blackboard. It looks like Canvas actually has a pretty good PowerPoint viewer. Show you what I'm doing now. Actually, let me go back to files. I have a folder called presentations. And I've got this was a zip file I unloaded all in one piece, and it downloaded, put all my folders. And the same thing, I went ahead and did the PowerPoints also, for the simple reason that I don't know which way I'm going to go. You know, depends on what shows up the best on the different platforms. I'm going to show you in a minute that students are actually starting to pull this stuff up on their mobile devices. I'm not sure which one's going to show up the best. What I was going to show you is, personally, I use PowerPoints not so much to preview as to review. A lot of people use them to review. I've uploaded, here's an HTML file that I pointed towards the index HTML file. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I can step through this. But I've also got the PowerPoint. It will come up. There we go. Again, one was a little bit smaller. You know, I feel like Goldilocks. One's too small, one's too big. Anyway, that's another tool that's out there and it's free. This is Quizlet, and theoretically, there is a built-in module where you can use an external tool and say Quizlet. For some reason, it's not, the search hasn't been working for me. They say that it's working fine. It compresses them also. So what I actually have been doing, and I really like better, is doing it kind of like the Cisco is doing. And basically what they're doing is you go ahead and you build a page and name it what you want to. I've got a bunch of these out here, so give me just a minute. My study sets, threat actor terms. Okay, if you come into the three dots and go to embed, and don't do the copy HTML, you can, I guess you can. Copy that, come back, make sure you're opening this in the HTML editor and pasting it in. And save it. This has a lot more flexibility because you can actually come down and choose study modes and some other stuff, whereas I never really got the external tool to work correctly. But that's just a couple things that that you can do to add some flash, if you will. Bad choice of words. Add some color, some activity into your courses. And I'm going to leave it at that, and I will try to get back this afternoon and do one on building out a Cisco class from the original, because if you haven't ever built one out, basically it looks like this. I left chapter 1 as a demo. You have a launch chapter, you've got the Quizlet, you've got a quiz and an exam. That's all you have. And what I try to do is I try to build it out and divide it up a little bit. I actually go in and find one that's got some labs. I go ahead and add in the labs so that they have some place to submit it. I do it a little different than some other people do, and I'll talk about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this or it's helpful in some way, and I will talk